The night my brother came home, I almost dropped dead in my own doorway. 30 years vanished the second I saw him standing there under the porch light. Same sharp jaw, same dark eyes, same crooked smile he used to wear before he disappeared without a single goodbye. But something about him felt wrong. Deep wrong. His smile looked practiced, like he spent years learning how to fake being normal. And his eyes, those eyes looked hunted. My name is Daniel Harper. I'm 69 years old, and until that night, I thought the worst thing my family ever survived was losing my younger brother, Michael, back in 1994. He vanished one rainy October evening. No body, no note, nothing. For 30 years, my mother cried herself to sleep, believing he was dead somewhere alone. My father drank himself into the grave, blaming himself. And me? I spent half my life angry at Michael for abandoning us. Then he showed up at my front door carrying one black suitcase. "Miss me, Danny?" he asked softly. I couldn't even answer. My wife, Karen, froze behind me, holding a dish towel in her hands. My son, Tyler, stood up from the dinner table, so fast his chair hit the floor. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Michael stepped inside like he had only been gone a weekend. But I noticed one thing immediately. He kept looking over his shoulder, like somebody followed him there. Before I tell you what was inside that suitcase, subscribe to the channel if you love intense family mystery stories like this. Most people watching aren't subscribed yet, and trust me, the ending of this story shocked even me. Also comment below where you're watching from, because I read every single one. Michael sat at the table quietly while Karen reheated dinner. Nobody knew what to ask first. 30 years creates too many questions. Finally, I said, "Where the hell were you?" He stared down at his hands. You don't want the answer. That sentence made the entire room cold. Tyler tried breaking the tension with nervous jokes, but Michael barely reacted. He just kept glancing toward the windows. Every passing car made him tense up. Then Karen asked the question nobody expected. "Why now?" Michael looked straight at me. "Because they finally found me." My stomach tightened instantly. "Who found you?" But before he answered, he reached beside his chair and slowly pulled his suitcase onto the table. The zipper sounded louder than thunder in that silent kitchen. When he opened it, everybody stepped back. Inside wasn't clothes. Inside were hundreds of papers, old photographs, bank records, newspaper clippings, cassette tapes, legal files, and one thick red folder sitting on top. Michael touched it carefully. "This," he whispered, "is why I disappeared." I remember laughing nervously because my brain couldn't process reality anymore. But Michael didn't laugh. He opened the red folder, and the very first page destroyed my entire understanding of our family forever. It was a birth certificate, mine, except the father's name wasn't my father's name. It belonged to another man entirely. My chest felt hollow. "What is this?" I asked. Michael looked like he hated himself for bringing it there. "The truth." Karen grabbed my arm because she could see my hands shaking. I flipped through more papers. Accurate financial accounts. Letters between my mother and a man named Richard Bennett. Photos of them together. Photos dated years before I was born. Then I saw the final photograph. My mother standing beside Richard. I'm beside a little boy around 6 years old. Me, I felt sick. "No," I whispered. Michael leaned forward. "Dad was never your real father, Danny." The room exploded into shouting. Tyler thought Michael was lying. Karen started crying. I couldn't even hear them anymore because my ears rang so loudly. All my life I believed my father loved me differently because I disappointed him somehow. But now I realized he knew. He knew I wasn't his son. And suddenly, my entire childhood made horrifying sense. Michael stood slowly. "There's more," Those two words nearly stopped my heart, because if that wasn't the worst part, what could possibly be worse? Michael didn't sleep that night. None of us did. Around 2 in the morning, I found him sitting alone on my back porch, staring into darkness like he expected someone to crawl out of it. The old porch light barely touched his face, but I could still see fear all over him. Real fear, not guilt, not shame, fear. I sat beside him, holding 2 cups of coffee. My hands still trembled from everything in those files. "You owe me answers," I said. Michael nodded slowly. Then he told me the story that haunted him for 30 years. Back in 1994, he accidentally discovered our father wasn't just some angry alcoholic factory worker. He had been laundering money for dangerous people connected to organized crime in Chicago. At first, I thought Michael had lost his mind. Then he showed me proof, old bank transfers, signed documents, photos of our father meeting men beside black sedans late at night. Michael said one evening he followed Dad to an abandoned warehouse outside town. He watched men unloading duffel bags full of cash. But then something went wrong. Michael got caught watching. "They dragged me inside," he whispered. I'll never forget how his voice cracked after that. He said our father begged those men not to kill him. Begged like a terrified child. One of the men offered a deal instead. Michael would disappear forever, or the entire Harper family would die. So he ran. He ran without warning because he thought it protected us. I wanted to hate him. But part of me understood. "What about Mom?" I asked quietly. Michael stared into his coffee. "She already knew everything." That hurt worse than anything else. According to Michael, Mom knew about the money laundering. She knew about my real father, too. She spent decades hiding secrets just to keep the family alive. I felt like my entire life had been built on lies. Then Michael said something even worse. Dad wasn't the real monster. Before I could ask what he meant, headlights flashed across my yard. Michael instantly ducked down. My heart jumped. A black SUV rolled slowly past my house. Didn't stop, didn't speed up, just rolled past. Michael looked pale. "They found me," he whispered again. Karen wanted to call police immediately, but Michael refused. He claimed some officers were connected to the same people from years ago. Tyler thought Michael sounded paranoid. Honestly, I did too, until the next morning. I walked outside to grab the newspaper and found a dead crow sitting perfectly centered on my porch. Its throat had been cut. Underneath it was a small white envelope. No stamp, no address. Inside was one sentence typed in black ink. "Hash should have stayed gone." Corin started crying immediately. Tyler wanted to install cameras. I just stood frozen, staring at Michael, because his terrified expression told me this wasn't paranoia anymore. This was real. That afternoon, Michael finally revealed why he came back after 30 years hiding. Someone else from the organization recently died, a man named Victor Hale. Before dying, Victor mailed Michael another secret file, one containing names, judges, police officers, businessmen, powerful people, people still active today, and hidden among those names was someone from our own family. I felt ice crawl up my spine. "Who?" I asked. Michael looked directly at Tyler. My son turned white instantly. "What?" Tyler whispered. Michael slowly opened another folder from the suitcase. Inside were photographs. Tyler meeting unknown men outside restaurants. Tyler exchanging envelopes. Tyler entering office buildings late at night. "This can't be real," Karen cried. But Michael looked sick saying it. "They recruited him years ago." Tyler exploded in anger. "You think I'm part of this?" Michael slammed one photo onto the table. "Then explain this." Tyler stared down silently. And that silence terrified me more than shouting ever could. Because For the first time in my life, AP saw fear in my son's eyes, too.